everybody, and welcome to what are we? Chapter? Oh yeah, another episode of the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. It will be me. It's Friday. Thank God.
Are you tired?
I'm exhausted.
You had a rough week. Rough week?
Well, thank God it's Friday.
Well, it's been a busy week. It's been a fun week. You got to tell me.
Thank God
Yesterday
it's
was
Friday.
not fun.
No,
You're not getting it?
It's Wednesday.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's Wednesday.
You're supposed to pick up on my lead.
I know. I screwed it up. But
Really?
hey, there you go. But
I don't know,
yesterday, because I wasn't paying attention to you as I normally
What
do.
else is no?
But
Yesterday you
yesterday,
didn't pay attention either when we were doing our little
why
thing.
you keep interrupting me?
Because I like to.
For those of you who missed it, yesterday we were at the Miller Business Center, and actually we did a live impromptu show, which turned out pretty good. So if you get a chance to watch that, you can watch it on the Business Power Hour Facebook page, as well as all our other pages, Norman's page, my page, all of that stuff. Check it out. We had a great time down there. We want to thank the people down at the Miller Business Center,
Yeah,
as
they were
also the
wonderful.
Middle Country Library. They were fantastic. We had a great time. We're looking forward to doing it next year. Next year, they already have it all planned out
Yeah,
for
with
us.
the building us a stage.
yeah,
they said.
we're gonna
went over pretty well yesterday.
pretty well. It went
I got to
well.
tell you that all you business people out there, if you've never had an opportunity to queue into the Miller Business Center and find out what you can get for free and what they offer you, all the different websites and apps and
Well,
books.
for the small business owners that are trying to get some education on things they can do, the Miller Business Center offers all of this stuff
everything
for free.
for no cost.
And every once in a while, you can actually see me there doing a.
Well, that's
a
enough
little
reason
shtick.
not to go.
You know what? Why are you so mean to me
It's
today?
Friday.
It's not Friday.
It is, as far as I'm concerned.
That
It's
is right.
Friday. I'm like, God.
We're
I
only
started,
starting, man.
Like
We're
you
getting
started
into
at 6
It's
this
Friday
morning.
someplace.
You're
Yeah.
not supposed to talk yet.
Oh, yeah.
Why? You must be an
I had
attorney.
I had to
Hey, I'm the
interrupt.
judge.
you.
Okay, I'm the
down the
judge.
judge.
Sorry, I had to interrupt you. The comedy routine was,
It's boring. We're
Was,
getting-
Yeah, oh, wow. So
That's
we're
it.
boring now.
He's finished.
He's finished.
Finished.
Done.
He's finished.
Done.
We didn't even get started.
Out.
That's it.
All
Well,
right, you
Off with your
introduce him
head.
then.
All right. All right. So, for those of you that have been patiently waiting to see this show, because look,
We thank everybody again. Another tremendous week last week. Just tremendous.
But yeah,
I
last
have
week
to
was a
thank
great
everybody.
week. It was a fantastic week last week. We 8,300 views on Facebook, just Facebook alone.
Yeah.
So we want to thank everybody for their continued support, continuing to watch us, and you never know what's going to come up. We told you last week. This week is actually going to be an interesting one because both Norm and I needed somebody like this in our corner.
And where was he when we needed him?
And where was he when we needed him? Really,
And I'm
both of
sure
us
a lot of people out there are going through the same anxiety and pain
Yes.
and stuff that we've gone through, and it's called marriage.
married.
And
It's
you're
right.
laughing,
They
right?
say it's an institution for a reason, right?
That's right.
You
That's
have
it.
to be
So-
in an institution to be in it.
So we want to introduce
David Badanes.
Badanes.
Okay.
I've been called worse.
Is it a call? So how do you say it, Dave?
It's
Well-
David Badanes.
Okay,
David
so I said it
Badanes.
right. You said it wrong.
Yes.
You know, of
Okay.
course. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Welcome, David.
Nice of you to be here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, you're a divorce attorney, but you're a lot more than that. So give us a start. Why did you pick law, and why did you pick?
Let's give us a little bit about what you do and where you do it,
Okay.
and
well,
then we can get into the whole
all right.
back stuff. You always go.
That's all right. Well, I live and my office are both in Northport. That was done on purpose.
Okay.
Because when I first became an attorney, I was working in New York City and living in Northport. And as you can imagine, it was a long commute, long hours. And as my kids were getting a little older, I said I left New York City. And I said, I'm going to open up my own firm in my office. I said, Northport or bust. And that's what I did. I was very lucky to find a very excellent office, has an excellent location. I have people even who walk in from the street, believe it or not.
Really?
It has very good visibility. It's a nice little office. I've been there 11 years now in that particular
Okay.
office. I just re-upped my lease actually for another 5.
Are you on the water?
No, I'm not on the water. That's the right. Northport has 2 parts. One is on 25A, which is where I am on, and then there's the Village, which is Main Street, which goes right to the water. So that's where I am. But I also have a satellite office in Uniondale, right across the street from the Nassau Coliseum.
At the RX building?
At the RXR building.
Okay,
Very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So that's really for the convenience of my Nassau County clients. I am actually a Nassau County boy by birth. I grew up actually very close to that building in East Meadow.
Okay.
So I know
so
that
you're
area.
right around the corner from there.
Yeah, so I know that area very, very well. Used to bike to Nassau Coliseum actually when I was a kid. So again, for my Nassau clients, they don't want to have to travel, schlep, so to speak, to Suffolk County. So that's where I meet them in my Nassau County office.
Very cool. So let me ask you this question, because we were having a conversation before the show. And, we go through all the different things that we're going to talk about and stuff like that. And I'm stealing your question because you moved to me this week. When you were a kid growing up, right, did you picture yourself becoming an attorney?
Absolutely not.
So
this is like almost my third career. My father was a teacher. He taught in Farmingdale, and I was always a very good student. Okay, right. So I thought I was going to be a math teacher. He was a science teacher, but I thought I was going to be a math teacher. And when I was at Stony Brook, when I went for undergrad, I did great with kids one-on-one. But then I got a job offer at a defense company, not Grumman, a different defense company, for about 4 times what teachers were going to make at that time.
To do what?
To do computer programming, believe it or not.
Really? Okay.
And because I was a computer programmer, computer science major, and a math major at Stony Brook. And I said, well, I could always go back to teaching. So I took the money and ran, so to speak. Right. And I worked as a computer programmer for many, many years. I did very well in it. I became a consultant, etc. But then I myself was divorced before I became an attorney. And that's not really why I became an attorney.
I was going to ask.
It's not why I became an attorney.
Is that what made you say, hey, you know what? I need to help people.
Well, it is the helping part. What happened is I got remarried, and my wife and I had a very long conversation. I wanted a change in life, so to speak. Right. I was getting kind of tired of the computer business, so to speak. And I always had an interest in the law. I thought I was too old to go back to law school, but I did my due diligence, so to speak. Right. I went to law school at night and became an attorney. And like I just said before, I worked in the city for about 5 years. And then, like I said, I opened up my own firm.
You said enough is enough. I'm going to go do my own thing.
Right.
And I'm
here comes the shingle.
And here comes the shingle.
That's right.
So you really envision yourself following your dad's footsteps.
That was right. That's correct.
And become a teacher.
I was.
Was Dad disappointed that you didn't become a teacher?
No, he was always very proud of what I did. Good. That I went to school. Supportive. And no, he didn't. My dad also had many careers as well. That's a whole different story. So we're not going there.
So you following in Dad's footsteps.
In many ways.
In many ways, you're following in Dad's footsteps. Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah. So let me ask you this: you were a teacher, then you were a computer programmer, or almost a teacher.
Almost a teacher. I did the whole student teaching thing.
Right.
I could have went into it, but then I didn't.
Then you were a computer programmer,
right.
and I'm assuming it's back in a time where computers are really just starting to take off. So computer programmers were
much different than today. I wasn't programming this,
right?
I was programming mid-range machines, bigger machines, and then of course they got smaller and smaller.
So you were writing all that crazy.
I wrote code. That's right.
Right. Yeah. A lot of programmers don't even write code anymore.
They probably don't. And believe it or not, I always tell people there's actually a lot of similarity between they don't believe me, but between programmers and attorneys, and the main one being attention to detail. Attention to detail. And right, that's a commonality. You make a mistake in a computer program, and it's not going to work, obviously, right? Same thing with the law. You got to be attention to detail and make sure that whatever you're writing, whatever you're arguing, you got it.
You got it.
And when you became an attorney, were you a divorce attorney right away, or you were a general practitioner?
I wasn't a general practitioner. The firm I worked in Manhattan did a lot of different litigation. A small part of their practice was matrimonial and personal, but very small. So I did a lot of different things. I wouldn't call them a general practice. They're no longer in business, actually, but that's a whole different story again. I guess once I left, that was it. They went to.
You were holding the whole firm together, right?
We assumed that.
So I left them, and like I said, about now it's almost 12 years. No, 11 years. 11 years ago.
So you said you were married before.
Correct.
You got divorced.
Correct.
You got remarried.
Yep.
Your new wife forced you into this new
yes, you could say that.
Right? Okay. Probably because she saw you were unhappy with what you were doing.
She did. She has a counseling type of background.
Oh, okay.
So she is a good counselor,
Right.
and she did see that I wasn't really 100% happy. I was making good money. No doubt I was making very good money at that time as a computer consultant.
But money isn't everything.
But money isn't. They always say you have to do what you love. And I think the love for computers had long gone by that time.
Right.
I was just, I was
became a grind. It was
became a grind,
and everything was deadlines,
Yeah.
and but being an attorney is very similar, isn't it? With deadlines and stuff.
Yes, but
So how are you adjusting to that?
Well, you've mentioned before about helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I think even with the teaching thing, it's the whole thing. You are helping people. Kids, obviously, students learn whatever they need to learn. I actually tutored kids still into my 30s, one-on-one tutoring.
Okay.
I kept that teaching thing sort of, and I always loved doing that because you get the kids to learn whatever you're trying to teach
You're
them.
molding them. You're
Molding them.
Right.
So I know it sounds very cliche about the whole thing, but I guess because I did go through the experience and I was not an attorney at the time, I know how it is to be a client.
Right.
And I do try to treat my clients how I wanted to be treated, like a person, not
Right.
just a number. A lot of
I get in my experiences, and I know Norm. We were talking about Norm's experiences and things like that. weren't always great. And sometimes I felt like my attorney was just like, he just wanted to take the path of least resistance, just
Right.
get it over and done with,
Right.
and not fight for me.
Right.
Where I was sitting there going, no, I want somebody to fight
Right.
for me
Right.
because what I'm going through.
Right. It's a tough time.
It's a tough
I
time.
tell people, look, I always tell people who come in for a first consultation, a lot of times I say, look, I'm not there to, you've already had your problems. I know how it is.
Right.
But I'm there to get you from A to Z. I'm there to make the process easy for you, and do the legal work. I always tell them, look, I'm not a counselor. I can't help you with the emotional part. And my wife does tell me, and that's not my strong point,
Right.
and that is true. But I'm there. I know the law. I know the judges, and I know what it is to get them so they get the best outcome for their case. And that's different for every client. It really is. And I tell every client, look, your case is different. There's no two cases that are alike.
And people who work in the service business, and this is one of the things, and I do coaching, I do
Right.
executive business coaching and that, and everybody says, well, what is your system like? I said, well, what do you like?
Right. That's true.
And they look at me like, I said, you know what? You got all of these different systems out there. You can take a cookie cutter system and put it in and put you into it, but it may not work for you.
Right.
Everything has to be modified and customized
Absolutely.
for them.
Proprietary.
And you really have to know your client in order to do that.
That's right.
Correct? So you spend some time with them.
Right. Because each client has different needs.
Yes.
Some clients are concerned about their kids. Some clients maybe the kids are old, they're concerned about the house.
Mm-hmm.
Some clients are concerned about their pensions. Everyone has a different need and want and how they want to get it. I have clients who come in and say, I want this quick and easy. And it's, and other clients.
Most people say, I want it quick and easy.
Well,
we don't want the aggravation.
They don't want the aggravation. They may not say somewhat quick and easy, but a lot will say quick. That is true. And some people say, look, do whatever you can to.
Right.
Can I
Get
curse?
me out of it.
Well,
You can curse. We're
okay.
We're not on network TV,
So,
so if you want to curse, David, go
to
right
screw
ahead.
the other person,
Right.
And I always tell them, it's
Wait
all.
a second.
I know that's not a curse. But
Screw is not a
I know,
curse.
but
You got to hear him sometimes.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
But so that like I said, every client it really I tailor what I do to the client and what their needs are.
And then a statement. Was there anybody else in your life that you've experienced divorce with, or what it did to their family, that led you down that road as well? That's the question, and then I'll say what I want to say.
No, not really. There was my own personal experience, of course, but besides
That was
that,
it.
there was no other person. None of my friends, until relatively recently, actually, ever got divorced when I was getting divorced.
Okay, so here's now.
So you were the
my
first
statement.
one. You led the
Of,
charge.
of my friends.
So after you got your divorce, how many followed suit?
Icebreaker.
Right. Well, one is still.
Well, David did it. I can do it.
I can do it, right. So one is going through it. I think there's really only two of my friends who have gone through it. Really,
Okay.
my close
Yeah.
friends.
Right.
Obviously,
So
a lot of acquaintances are not so good friends. But what I consider my good friends from
So my
cyber.
ex and I decided that we're going to go to a mediator.
And by the way, I do mediation too. By the way,
So we go to a mediator, and we put it all out on the table, and she's mediating for us.
Right.
Little do I know that the mediator and my ex are having lunches.
Well, that's unethical.
They really, and they're having this great time together. They're going out in the evening, yada yada, and she's giving.
Sounds like your ex-wife was fun.
Instruction, yeah, real ball. Right? And then we wound up saying, "This ain't working." I said, "This is obvious not gonna be." All right, either I could have got, and then I ran into her, crazy about the mediator, about 10 years or so afterwards. And
did you ask her for a date?
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Ain't doing that. Yeah, okay. So then we went to court, and then it was all screwed up from there.
Yeah.
But mediation could it could be a good thing if you're honest and above board.
What I tell people for mediation is this: both parties, both spouses, have to be invested in it.
Right.
They have to be knowing that they are going to be able to compromise, negotiate in that room, because I'm not a judge. I can't make them do anything. I give them the advice. I tell them how we can get there, again, from A to Z again. I tell them what I believe a judge would do, but I can't force them to, unlike a court and a judge, where a judge could say, wait a minute, if you don't do X, bad things are going to happen or something.
But you advise your clients too. So this is my decision of what I think should be done.
Well, mediators shouldn't really be doing that.
You need to go to an attorney to verify everything.
Absolutely. Mediator should not be
So
imposing.
she went to the attorney that the mediator suggested her to go to.
Yeah. They shouldn't be imposing things per se. They should allow the client, so two people to say, here, I would tell them, well, I think, I'll just make it up. Child support should be X dollars.
Right.
Whatever. I'm pretty confident I went to court, this is what it'd be. But it's up to you. You guys you're going to mediation. The beauty of mediation is that you can vary, deviate from that. And you guys can do whatever you want. I'll tell you if it's illegal, so to speak.
Right.
But if the court won't accept it. But you guys have a lot more leeway.
Question I have for you.
Before you do, let's give everybody the phone number. I guarantee there's going to be people.
Well, you know what? We should have done that. You said you were going to do that in the begining.
Okay. You want to argue or you just want to do it?
All right, everybody, call in tonight. The phones are open, 631-415-1365. And when we come back after these messages, we'll answer all your questions that you have for David. We'll be right back after these messages.
Take care. Come on.
Small business owners, are you having trouble growing your business? Do you feel like you're always swimming upstream? Do you feel like daily tension that I can't get ahead and I don't know why? Hi everybody, my name is Darren Sayafi and I'm a business therapist. What's a business therapist? Well, some people call us coaches, some people call us advisors, other people even call us strategists. We take a vested interest in you and your personal development as a person and as a business owner to give you the tools and structure that you need to take it to that next level. So don't wait. Give me a call today for your free consultation and let me show you how you can help yourself. Hi, this is Darren from the Business Power Hour. Are you associated with a charity or a nonprofit organization that is looking to raise money, but you want to do something different from other charities or something you've never done before? Well, if that's the case, then you need to call our friends at Friend Entertainment USA. Friend Entertainment provides tribute concert events featuring the best tribute talent from all over the USA, saluting stars such as Donna Summer, the Bee Gees, Queen, and many more. Whether you like Motown, rock and roll, R&B, country, Christian, or whatever type of music you like, they will provide you with the best entertainment at a price that is very affordable. In addition to music, they are now offering comedy shows saluting such stars as Robin Williams and Joan Rivers. With over 31 years of experience, Friend Entertainment will teach you how to create a successful show. The first thing you need to do is sit down with them and learn how you and your organization can put together a show that can be done from anywhere in the USA. These events will help you bring needed funds and branding to your organization so you can continue to provide the needed services to your community. No organization is too big or too small. So reach out today. You can call or email Norman at Friend Entertainment USA and let him help your charity or nonprofit create an unforgettable fundraising experience. Call 844-698-9696. That's 844-698-9696. Or visit their website at friendentusa.com and ask for the Music Man. Tell him Darren sent you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Business Power Hour. Wow, my voice is cracking.
Yeah, it's also stop talking.
Wow.
And if you
All
want to
right.
make a phone call in and say hello to David, our supreme divorce attorney, please call us at 631-415-1365. And Dave, before you start talking, how do people reach you? What number do they call?
631-239-1702.
Could you repeat it?
631-239-1702. That's for all my clients. I have just one phone number.
So you have the one phone number.
Even
It
if
goes
they're
to both
Nassau or
offices. Doesn't matter if it's Nassau or Suffolk.
Correct.
You can call in and you
Right.
can do that.
No, I called
That's
you
awesome.
last evening, and your answering machine,
Yes.
your answering
Service,
people
right.
were wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
They were really courteous, respectful. Is it urgent? You know, so they asked some questions that were important. And I said, no, just a friend calling.
Well, it's
and
good to
that
know.
was it. Did she reach you last night?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
And you ignored it. So I do. I usually do that with when he calls me too.
He's
It's just
smart, you know.
he just ignores it, you know, and then we go from there. So I got a question for you, Dave.
Sure.
When you work with somebody through their divorce,
Sure.
and then they come to you and say, "I'm going to get married again, David." All right?
Sometimes they get married to the same person again, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
know that
But do you
happens, yeah.
advise them that maybe it's a good idea to have a prenuptial agreement?
I do prenups. Yes.
So you do prenups.
But do you
do.
suggest them, or do they ask for them?
I don't necessarily. Well, I do suggest them in a sense,
Okay.
but most people they come to me, you know, for prenups. They call me. You know,
They call
say,
you and say, "Hey, I'm going to
I
get
know,
married again. I
prenup.
want to get
Usually,
prenup."
it's obvious. 99% of the time, it's for second marriages.
Right.
Sometimes it is for the first marriage. You know, for whatever circumstances, trying to protect the family business. Many times.
What's the most unusual prenup that you've ever had to put together?
Most unusual. Well, I'm not sure it's so unusual, but it was one of those mail order brides, so to speak. You know, you get the woman from Russia, or
You get the room. It's like
like
shopping.
like
right?
Amazon, right? Yeah. They,
She came over in a crate.
I'll take number one,
I'll take,
2, or
yeah, yeah.
3.
So
Send it to me.
she was, she didn't speak much English.
Right.
And,
Perfect.
and well, it was unusual in the sense that the husband, the husband to be paid for her
Right. To come to America.
me, come to America, and also paid for my fee, that's okay.
Right.
That's ethical. Anybody can pay my fee. Obviously, I told him, look, just because you're paying my fee doesn't mean I get to talk to you. I'm
Right.
talking to, you know,
Her.
Natasha.
Representing her, right.
I'm representing Natasha, or whatever her name was a while ago. And so she didn't speak a lot of English, but enough to kind of make. And then she had a friend who had better English, so she acted as a
Was this like a try and buy?
something. Well, maybe. So she didn't know much about America at all. Unfortunately, she had no idea about the laws here and
Right.
what she was entitled to. So I had to explain to her, well, you know, your husband is this agreement, you know, and
Yeah.
I one thing I've been told is I explain things in plain English, which is something I do try to.
You dumb it down. For,
I try to.
for
I
the
don't
lady.
like to use the term "dumb it down."
Divorce for dummies.
Well, you know what? You know what makes me-
I say plain English. and
It makes me crazy when attorneys try to impress you with their
Yeah.
vocabulary.
I
and
try
just
not
say,
to do
Stop
that.
already.
I
Just
try
talk like
not
a
to do
regular
that.
human being.
I really, that's one thing I do try to pride myself on is,
Right.
you know, plain English, so that person understands it, and so it was unique in a sense, you know, but we got through it, and you know that was many years ago, and I haven't heard from them, so I guess they're still happily married.
We got a mediation question for you.
Sure.
And guess who sent us this mediation question?
My wife?
No, not your wife. No,
Your wife?
she's got a device. I'm not married. She's got a divorce question. Your wife, but
Okay.
no, I'm kidding. Your friend Eileen Karina.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Eileen Karina?
Yes.
Oh, not Crane. Karina.
I said Karina.
She's a lovely woman. What's
Didn't
the
I say
question?
David? Did I say Karina?
It did sound like Karina, yes.
Yeah.
It's
so I
not
did say-
whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
What was the
Well,
question?
hi Eileen. Thanks for watching. She goes. She wants to know if you do medical mediation for people who are injured.
No, I
in
don't
their medical
do that.
care.
I
No,
just
you don't do medical mediation.
I don't do. That's
Sorry,
like
Eileen.
that
I mean,
sounds
if
like a
you call me
personal injury
tomorrow,
or
I
a
have
medical
somebody.
malpractice kind of case. It doesn't
Doesn't
no,
fit what you
you're
need
not-
to do.
Yeah, sorry. I
And
try to do what I'm good at.
Yeah, and if Eileen, if you heard Norm when he was interrupting
I have
David as he was
somebody.
talking, Norm has somebody, so give him a call tomorrow, and he can get you hook you up with that. So, so how about a postnuptial agreement?
People do that all the time. Well, not all the time.
Not all the
It's
time.
rare. That is
It's
much
rare.
rare. You know, and that typically happens when somebody finds the other person doing something they shouldn't be doing. In other words, having an affair.
Right.
So that and they forgive the person, but they say, "Hey, I'm going to give you the one strike, but
Now we're gonna lock everything down, so I'm not gonna get
right." So right. So
I'm not gonna get
that's
shut
when
in this
post-nups happen. Is almost always I have found very rare, but that's usually what happens.
So wait a second. So okay. So
Although there's been a couple other ones. There's one other one actually that's not so old that it was her second marriage. I did her divorce for the first one actually.
okay. So it's a
And
repeat client.
repeat.
How many
client.
repeat clients do you get typically?
A few.
More than you think.
More
right?
than you think. But she was remarried and she wanted a post. She got pregnant very quickly.
Okay.
So and they wanted to make it legal in a sense. So they got married very quickly. So they didn't have time to do the prenup. So they did the post-nup.
Post-nup.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's they. So they had the intention of doing a
They
prenup.
right, and it wasn't. It was it's a very simple, as things go for the post-nup was basically it was recognizing it was his house
Right.
and
Those type of things.
those kind of things. It was very
Right.
relatively
So
simple.
this way, if anything should happen,
right.
this is yours, this is mine.
Right, basically.
Well,
right.
Are
We're
there
gonna go simple.
judges that side with women more than men, and men more?
Well,
than
they
women?
won't. They won't admit that.
Yeah, but you see it, right? You know,
They
like
all,
this,
they're human. Judges are human, and you definitely, as you go through them and you get to see them many times, oh yeah, this one is going to favor this this sex versus.
Is
the
there
other
a
sex.
judge that you go when you get them? You go yes.
Yeah, but we're not going to say names.
No, I'm not going to say names. I'm not asking you about the names. I'm just saying.
Yes.
There's
There's
times
many,
when you
many
say-
judges that I will say that to because I tend to get along with even if I don't really like them
Right.
or like how they
operate.
Mm-hmm. I tend to get along with most people, so and they tend to like me. So for the most part, I can almost always say that's good or bad, and I'll
Right.
get along with them. They'll be better than the others because I know that they have a certain way of looking at things.
They have a certain way of looking at things.
I
things
had
like
somebody come over to me in my business world who had asked me to do something, and I said, well, before I do, I just got to get to know you a little bit better, and yada yada. So he said he's telling me that he's going through a divorce, and I said, no, you don't have to, but if you want to tell me what it is, and why, whatever you want to talk about it, I'd be happy to listen, whatever. He says, you'll never believe me if I told you. I said, well, try me. He said, my wife wants to have sex with other people.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Really?
Oh my.
Now, I'm not talking about does, but she actually told him, this is what I want to do, and if you
Yeah.
don't agree to it,
Well, they're called
then we're gonna
swingers.
go.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to do it.
Well, again,
So
he
that's
didn't
not
want to
called
do
swinging.
it, but she wanted to be a
Half
swinger.
swinging,
Yeah, it's
Half
I
swinging.
mean, that's what swingers
You
do,
go
right?
up and you don't go down, or
Something
you go
like
down
that.
and you don't go up.
Yeah,
Which
something
one
like
you do,
that.
down or up? Which one?
Listen,
Oh, okay.
we're not going to go there.
So that
right?
really happens that
Yeah.
often?
Well, I wouldn't say often, but
I'm not.
it's not.
I guess
Look,
I'm naive.
as a divorce attorney, I hear all the juicy,
All right,
great.
give us some juicy.
So wait a second. So it's really, from my experiences with some people, you look at people and you go, no way, and then you find out they're like these sexual deviants that do all kinds of.
I
crazy
only tell
stuff.
people you don't. What happens behind closed doors,
It's behind closed
behind
doors.
closed, and you would. I
Yeah,
think
but
I've
they
heard
take
it.
pictures of
I
this
think I've
stuff.
heard. Well, nowadays, especially with the phone and everything, it's so much easier. But
Right.
you'd be shocked at what this, And sometimes it's the hardest part. I would say of my job sometimes is to keep a straight face.
So somebody.
They'll come in and they'll say something, and I have to, and they're the ones who are doing it,
Right.
and I have to be like, very,
Really?
very, very stoic, and and then
Did you ever just want to say what was going through your head when you did that?
sometimes, yeah, but you can't.
You can't. You got to be that supportive person that says, "Okay, we're going to work through this thing. We're going to
Right,
get the best
right.
deal for you." But you're sitting there going, "This is a sinking ship. If all it is."
Well, I try not to say it's a sinking ship because I have to rescue them if they really are doing things that
Throw
are
'em in a lifeboat.
so throw them in a lifeboat. And that is a tough conversation to have. I mean, it is actually unfortunate. People come into my office, they may have drug or alcohol issues, and first thing
that's a common thing. Marriages breaking up over
so
something
first thing
like
I'm
that.
going to tell them is like, look, you if they're not already in it, you're going to have to go for
rehab
or counseling, and a lot of times they don't want to hear it, and sometimes you do have to read them the riot act, so to speak, and say, look, if you want a good outcome here, you're going to have, if you want me to help you,
you got to buckle down.
You're going to have to also somewhat help yourself. I can't make you go to, let's say drug.
But you have that tough love that you
tough
give
love.
them.
I mean, in a sense, you do have to sometimes have that.
Where were you when I was getting divorced? Holy
It's
cow.
a tough conversation. I try to do it in a nice way, in a supportive way. And I would say most of my clients get that. They kind of know it already, probably.
Right.
And sometimes they need.
But you see him and her only when you mediate. You don't really see him.
Well,
and
if
her.
I do mediation, right.
Yeah, you don't see them, and when it comes time for somebody to hire you for a divorce and file papers, you don't see them together.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Well,
so you're
except
talking,
at court.
you're talking
Right.
about, yeah, but then you're only responsible for one.
Correct.
And someone else got the other. But this
Right.
is what comes up during mediation.
Mediation and regular divorce, all the dirt.
All the dirt's going to get churned
Mediation actually much less dirt comes up because they're there. They're
try
not
to protect.
They're not
whatever
really.
they got.
Most of the time, they don't really hate each other's guts when they're
Right.
doing mediation. They know for whatever reason the marriage is failing, but they don't necessarily hate each other's guts. But they know that they have to split, and they're actually healthy in a sense of, look, we just can't live together, and we know. So mediation are very rare. I mean, there has been a few mediations that have been interesting as well, but those are few and far between.
So let me ask you this question, because we didn't ask you this in the beginning. When you became a lawyer, why matrimonial law?
Like I said, when I was working in the city, it was they didn't do a lot of it. They did a little bit of it, and it was just something I did for that firm.
So it seems like every time they
and
got
then
a case,
what
they
happened
gave
when
it to you?
I opened up my own firm, Shingle, it was sort of the snowball effect. We were talking about that before, where I was getting more and more matrimonial clients because I do some other things. I mean, this
Right.
is probably about 85 to 90% of what I do, but there are some other areas of law I do.
So you really like this
tell
type
us.
of law?
Tell us
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
so I do some criminal defense work, which actually comes in handy for matrimonial law because unfortunately sometimes my matrimonial clients get into a little trouble.
Right.
So I have to help them out on the criminal defense end. I also do some wills and trusts, and again, many times they have to enter into a new will, etc. And again, when I worked in the city, we were doing a lot of business deals, so I do some business,
So
litigation.
you know
So
business law.
all this other stuff, I don't really. I always tell people I'm not necessarily fishing for those kind of cases,
Right.
but I do them. A lot of times, it's ancillary to my business.
It's in ties into the
Or again, I do have clients who said, "Oh, gee, I use Badanes for my divorce, but I know he does some other things, or I'm not sure." Because I always tell my clients, "Look, if you're not sure, have them call me. If I cannot help them, I don't do bankruptcy, let's say,
Right.
and I don't do personal injury, I don't do medical. So I know attorneys who I trust. If I had to have that kind of case, I would give it to that attorney if I don't handle that type of law.
Right.
But if it's a business kind of case or criminal defense or something that I can help them with,
Right.
then I do it. So
Well, does that, again, your business background, business law background,
right.
does that help you in your divorce cases?
Absolutely,
because you
because,
got a lot of business owners
right.
that
Well,
are trying
that's
to protect
absolutely
their
helpful
assets.
because a lot of times, I mean, I don't like to put other attorneys down, but a lot of other attorneys went from, being in law school, never had a real job, so to speak,
Right.
and then became a lawyer. So they don't really know the business world. When I was a consultant, I was a business person, really.
Right.
I was in the business world, so I get that. And I did actually own a house or two, and I rented it out. So I was a landlord for a little bit of time. So, I understand the business person's mentality. So, yes, absolutely.
And that's one thing that we, as I teach as a coach, is you got a lot of technicians,
Right.
So your lawyers that come right out of school, go work for a law firm, and then decide they're going to go out and hang their own shingles. They're pretty much technicians. They don't know how to run a business.
Right.
They don't have that business experience, and they have to learn on the fly. And that's why a lot of attorneys struggle.
They do.
Is because they're not sitting there and not knowing the things that they have to put into place.
That's right.
You have a good background, so when you went and said, "Okay, I'm going to go do this," you were ready to do it because you had experience to do it, and now you're enjoying it.
Don't they now have a business course in a law school to teach? Because I know
they probably do. I think
in the medical field.
I mean, how to run your own business.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have them in law
attorney.
school, but I know that there's classes you can take.
They're all over the place now.
But, I don't know if they have it at law school. I haven't, really checked it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, we're seeing that over the years, more of these technicians, and I'll use the E-Myth methodology. It's this technician who had this brain fart to say, "Hey, I'm going to become an entrepreneur."
Right.
All they're doing is just creating a job for themselves,
Right.
and they're not creating a career, and they're not creating, something that really they can grow with.
Right.
And it's all about putting the right systems in place.
Did you ever have a big
like
time case? Well-known professional people, movie stars, singers.
No, unfortunately, I would. That's the
Well,
that's
you
the whale.
Talk about it anyway.
That's the whale.
Right.
I had somebody, but it really never. She never pulled the trigger, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
She was, or is, I still married to a singer.
Okay.
Who is probably more like a B singer than an A singer. Maybe back in the day, he was an A singer.
But known.
But known enough. I mean, I think most people would have to rack their brains a little bit, But
What was the name?
No, you can't do that.
But she, we had a couple of consultations, but she decided to just
stick it out.
Stick it out, so to speak.
Stick it out.
I guess
all right. So
to stay than to leave.
We got a break again, but right after this break, I'm going to ask you the most interesting case that you've ever had, where you kind of just went when you heard what was going on.
Sure.
You talked about it before the show, so tune in because you guys are going to love this story. We'll be right back after these messages.
Very good.
You're looking to expand your business and gain valuable knowledge from leading business professionals? You're invited to attend the Boom Business Expo on Thursday, May 16th at the Huntington Hilton between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Sponsored by PSEG Long Island, Investors Bank, Verizon Fios, Maya Monitoring, and HSBC. The Boom Business Expo will feature 100 business exhibitors, 50 business organizations, 25 executive speakers, and more. To exhibit your business and register to attend, visit boombiznet.com. The Boom Business Expo on Thursday, May 16th, where Long Island business will boom.
Small business owners, are you having trouble growing your business? Do you feel like you're always swimming upstream? Do you feel that daily tension that I can't get ahead and I don't know why? Hi everybody, my name is Darren Sayafi and I'm a business therapist. What's a business therapist? Well, some people call us coaches, some people call us advisors, other people even call us strategists. We take a vested interest in you and your personal development as a person and as a business owner to give you the tools and structure that you need to take it to that next level. So don't wait. Give me a call today for your free consultation and let me show you how you can help yourself.
Welcome back to the Business Power Hour, Darren the Music Man. My voice is much better this time because I took a little bit of water during the break. We're here with David Badanes. All right, got it again.
David B.
David B. He's a divorce attorney. He's got some cool stuff going on. But one of the things I did notice that our friend Brian Cohen did join us.
Yes, he did.
All right, so we want to thank Brian for actually being our director yesterday. Cameraman, and actually our announcer.
Assistant.
Norm came up with the great idea of having an announcer yesterday, and Brian actually handled those duties for us.
He did a great job.
So thank you, Brian.
Full time.
Hire him. You don't have a budget to hire anybody.
We're gonna give him $5.
$5. Okay, we can do that. We'll give him another T-shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Okay, so there's this crazy divorce type thing that you went through. Was that correct?
Me personally?
No.
That I represent.
We go through some crazy stories.
We were talking before, obviously, I went on, and one of the crazier ones, I guess, is that I was representing the wife.
Okay.
And she tells me, she did not tell me this in the first time we met, maybe the second or third time.
So wait, the first time she met with you,
right.
What did she tell you?
She just said, I need to get divorced. They had a child together.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the child was about a young teenager.
Okay.
And they were living separately at the time. And she didn't really say a lot about, a lot of times.
She didn't say infidelity or anything
She didn't
like
say anything. She
You
just
can give a reason? Why
not the
she
first
told
time. And again, I don't ask the reason unless they tell me because it's not. Nowadays, it doesn't matter what the reason is. I mean,
Like no fault.
New York's been a no-fault divorce state for 8-9 years now.
Right.
So the judges don't care. Want to get divorced? You could get divorced. We don't care.
Yeah. There's no more blame to throw.
No
at
more
people,
blaming, and the judges love that. And they're actually kind of the attorneys love it too. We don't have to get into that. But then the second or third time that we had talked, she goes, I forget even how it came up, but she basically said, my husband had an affair. Not the first time I've heard that.
Right.
And then she goes, I think she even said, who he had an affair with? I go, I thought it was going to be a friend. Many times it's a friend.
Right.
But this time it happened to be her mother.
Her mother.
In other words, his mother-in-law.
His mother. So
But even the wackier part of the story was that, and I knew this, she was living with her mother. So
wait a second.
So I don't know. I'm assuming that the affair happened before she moved out and moved in with mom.
Right.
But I guess they made up.
Well, maybe. Well, let me ask. Did you ever ask the question? Was mom living with them and that how?
I don't ask these kind of questions.
Come on, we need details.
With no
David.
details. Sorry, no juicy
So
details.
this teenage kid, male or female, doesn't matter. How screwed up is that? For him to find out that.
Well, hopefully, Grandma.
Hopefully
they didn't tell the kid about this. Who knows?
How do you
Well,
keep
was
it a
it
secret?
Was it still going on, or was it?
No. She said it was on. She said
It
it
was
on.
one and done. Or
I didn't ask if it was one and done, but certainly it was certainly the sexual activity. The sexual activity. I know. I can't make this.
phone is ringing off the hook.
Because
Come on, guys, call
sexual
in.
activity was over by that time.
Right. Hey, if anybody has any questions or any thoughts, or even if you have an experience that you want to share with something that you went through, with anything.
Serious or funny?
Serious or funny. Give us a call, 631-415-1365. That's 631-415-1365. The phones are open.
And Mr. Cohn, if you're listening in and you have any stories that you would like to tell us about yesterday's event or any funny stories?
Any funny stories? Yeah,
Give
Brian,
us-
we'd love to
give us
hear
a
your
buzz.
voice again. Your announcer voice. If you're going
That's
to
it.
call
Let's
in, you
hear
got to
the
use your
announcer
announcer
voice.
voice, buddy. All right. So, all right. So let's get back to these details here.
Are you a member of any legal societies or whatever, officer of any of these groups?
Well, not an officer, but like many attorneys, of course, I'm a member of the New York State Bar Association, Suffolk County Bar
Nassau?
Association, Nassau County Bar Association, and within those associations, they have different committees. I'm on the, we'll call it the matrimonial committee. Each of the groups have a different name for it, but I'm on the committee for
So
both
do you
of them.
guys get together and swap stories and tell each other what's
Sometimes
going
we
on?
do, yes.
Smoke a big cigar?
Well, no, I don't smoke cigars. But, you do hear the stories from, it's a way to blow off steam, so to speak.
Right.
So
Wait till you hear this one.
Wait till you hear this one.
So what's the most outrageous story that you've
I
heard?
don't-
We got a phone call.
Brian.
Yeah. You think it's Brian?
Absolutely. Good evening. It's the Business Power Hour. Welcome. Who are we hearing from?
Hi, this is John.
Hey, John. How are you, bud? Now, John.
How you doing?
John's a regular caller here. So I know
Yeah.
why John's calling.
Okay,
He
John.
wants to know if he's going to get half his wife's pension.
Well, first,
No, I already know that because I know that from Darren. I was just wondering, is it possible to divorce your cousin?
That's me.
I see. Sure, absolutely. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it. See,
And
David's very
if
good.
he wants to divorce his cousin, how does he reach you?
Oh,
What's the number?
Yeah.
631-239-1702. 631
172.
239-1702.
There you go.
So this is why we got to get divorced.
All right, I'll call you tomorrow morning.
Hey, John. John,
Yeah.
where you been, man? I've been trying to call you. Oh, that's right. The Mets are losing a lot.
Yeah,
That's why I don't hear from you.
I'm a Met fan.
They're
I'm a Met
horrible.
fan too, so
All that
I share the misery.
They lost again tonight. Oh, God. Can I divorce the Mets? Maybe I could divorce my baseball team. Can I do that?
You can do that. You can divorce your. That's what. Can he divorce the Mets?
He can.
Because
I wouldn't recommend it though. You
so-
got to
in
be
other
true.
words, you can
You got to
divorce
be true.
anybody.
You have to be true to your team.
You got to be true to your team, John. You can't give it up, buddy. He's got a brick at at City Field. He did.
Way to go. So then he can't get divorced.
He can't get divorced, John. You have to take the brick out of
There's
it.
no room at the Yankees.
I could do that at night. Don't worry about it.
All right, buddy. I love
All right,
you.
I'll call you in the morning.
All right, goodbye.
So.
Long story with that one.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good. He's my cousin. I love him.
He was a constant caller until he started to speak French.
Parlez-vous en français?
Sort of. We had an
Brooklyn
artist
French
on here.
Yeah, playing a lot of good Brooklyn French.
He little parlez-vous a little too much.
Too much, yeah.
That evening. So,
Wow.
So
like you said, you're not on network TV.
we're not on network TV,
so
but
you have a
guests-
little bit more liberties.
We got to be
we
careful.
thought
with
it
the
was
guest stuff.
funny, but
We
you
thought
know,
it was
The audience.
the client didn't think
it was funny.
The audience must have thought it was hysterical.
Right.
But
Well, he
we
did.
get it. Yeah,
John
well, he
did.
did.
It's-
But we were laughing pretty hard.
Yeah,
Do you have
no,
any
we love
special events that are coming up, or anything that? Do you give any lectures or any
I
talks?
have, and I've actually been complimented on this, and I guess this is where my teaching background may come through. I've done some
Wow, the
CLEs
phones are-
for
the
other
phones are
attorneys.
crazy.
So where I give a class, and other attorneys take that class, and they get credits for doing it.
All right.
So-
Okay,
You
the
take the
phone
call.
call. Good evening. Welcome to the Business Power Hour. Who is calling?
It's Brian. I have to call in.
Brian, that's
Brian.
Brian Cohen, our
Our
friend.
announcer.
Brian, your announcer voice, please.
All right.
Give it up.
It's Brian Cohen from the Long Island Speakers Bureau, calling in with a question for your guest tonight.
All right, go ahead.
That's what you say. Okay, Brian, what's your question? Hope it's a good
Okay,
one.
Brian, yeah, what's your question, buddy?
Yeah, so one of the gentlemen that I started working with, he coaches, he actually works with some criminal attorneys when things don't go well and somebody's going to be incarcerated, and helping prepare them for what it's like to go to prison or jail. Do you find that you do a lot of coaching in that respect, the mental side of it? Then also, I guess there's a lot of paperwork that also needs to be updated, such as trust wills, et cetera,
Well,
in that kind of a scenario.
Again, not so much. Again, I tell people I am not a counselor or a therapist.
But wait, if I could, Brian, I just want to clarify your question so we all understand it, because you got a little bit of marble out there for a little bit.
It's
But
that or the telephone.
oh, it must be the speakers or something. But anyway, so listen up. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but the way I heard it was, if you know, like somebody's getting divorced and one of the parties is incarcerated or whatever, you got wills and trusts and things like that need to be updated. Do you do that type of work?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the question, Brian?
That didn't sound like the question.
Yeah, that was half of it.
That was half of it.
The other
So I
It's
got
the
half of it.
paperwork side of it that would need to be updated.
Coaching them.
And then there's also the idea of preparing the family for
That's your criminal side.
somebody going to jail.
Right.
Oh, so
well,
preparing a
I
family
keep
for-
my clients out of jail.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not.
There you go.
Not to pat myself on the back, but that's
Good
what I
comeback.
do. I not one of my clients has gone to jail, so, I can say that, so.
But you're not a criminal attorney by any
Well,
means.
I do some criminal. Like I
Oh,
said,
so
I
you
do.
do? Okay, so-
It's a minor part of my practice.
Right.
I'm not doing murder trials. I will admit that. But I do mostly misdemeanors. I'm not handling traffic tickets for people.
Right, yeah,
that, I'm too busy to
assaults
handle that.
and things like that.
But other things that sometimes my clients
Do you
get
find
involved.
that's a common thing with some of the cases that you have? that there is some kind of
Unfortunately,
abuse?
they have a special part in the courts for that,
Right.
where they combine the criminal part with the matrimony divorce part,
Mm-hmm.
and this way one judge is handling it instead of a criminal
So the
defense.
judge sees the whole picture.
The judge sees the whole picture.
Brian,
And
let
he
me
doesn't
ask you a
listen.
question. If, thank God, you haven't been divorced and you haven't been in jail. So where do you get the expertise to help counsel this person without the actual experience in doing it?
Well, they have the gentleman that I'm speaking to actually spent a number of years behind bars.
So what he's doing, he's referring to somebody else that he's working with who has had experience behind bars, and he's counseling the people. Correct, Brian?
Yeah, he's counseling folks that are, whether they're divorced or not,
kinda like that movie
but
with-
people that are going to be spending a number of years in prison. There's a lot of things that need to happen that, from a legal standpoint, from the paperwork standpoint, businesses, everything like that also needs to be rearranged. But one of the things that I found interesting too is that he'll work with the defense attorney in making a case for a shorter sentence based upon what experiences this person might have when he does go to prison.
Really? So they argue the point of, this guy is going to get beat up every day, so, we're
You
going
can do that sometimes for money.
You can do that type of
There's
thing.
lots of things you can
All
do.
right, that was a
Well,
good
thank
call,
you,
Brian.
Thank you.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Good night.
All right,
You
and
got
thanks,
it.
and thanks for everything yesterday, pal.
That was really cool.
That was cool.
It was a lot of fun doing that.
All right, thanks, Brian. You have a good night, pal.
Thanks, man.
You too.
So that's an interesting point. Is what he's saying
Well,
is that there are people out there actually coaching people who are getting ready to go to prison.
I guess there are.
Yeah,
Right?
there's-
There must be.
There's coaches for everything.
There's coaches
But
for
one thing he did say that I do want to bring up is, as I said before, because I do wills and other things, if they do have a business or they have a will, or if they don't have a will and they're getting divorced, I tell them these are things we need to put into place.
Right.
Matter of fact, I have a client now who's not a matrimonial client. I'm helping her with, unfortunately, her spouse passed away relatively, so I'm helping her with what's called probate. But then one of my first questions was, "Do you have a will?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, we'll get to do this first, but then we're going to get you a will."
So what's the importance? Now, we had an attorney on last week that talked
Right.
about
So
these
I
things.
mean, again,
But just very quickly to remind everybody,
Right.
what's the importance of having a will in
the
place?
point of a will is that if you don't have one, then whatever your state is going to be, your possessions are going to go to how the state wants them to go, their own formula, and you may not want that.
Right.
So it doesn't all go. Let's say I was to pass away, it doesn't all go to your wife. There's children that some go. You may not want that, and I have many clients who say, "Gee, and I'll just pick myself. I have some small sports collection, and my wife has no interest in that.
Right.
And I have two girls, and then I have a son. So I'm gonna probably give that to my son, and probably some to my brother.
All right, split
But
that.
normally that would if I didn't have a will, they wouldn't get that.
Right. Oh, it'd have to be split up. Between
I mean, maybe somebody would give it to them anyway. But I'm just
Right. Yeah, no, I know what you're
what I'm
saying.
saying. So sometimes people say, "Oh, what's the big deal? All going to go to my wife, go to my kids." Well, when you really analyze it, sometimes it is a big deal.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes people are just looking at the dollars and cents and
More
not
times than
necessarily
not.
the sentimental value that
Right.
possessions bring.
I have a very, very good friend who he lives in New Jersey, so I wasn't able to represent him because I'm not. But
Right.
I was able to give him advice where his parents unfortunately passed away. They didn't have a large estate, but again, it was enough to fight over. And his two brothers and him were fighting over this, and they, it just wasn't good.
Yeah,
And then it
it's-
went to the courts to the decision.
Right.
And then
Right.
they all get screwed. The only one who wins, what's the term? The attorney? Or what's
Well,
the-
I always tell people, yes, people say, oh, the attorneys won well, but they won because you paid them to
Right.
do the work.
Exactly.
But you're right. A lot of the money went to the attorneys because they were fighting over something that if they would have sat down like normal people and said, look, let's just split everything 1/3. There's three brothers.
Yeah.
But
That's the easy way.
they didn't
That's
want
the
it.
You have
easy
the
way.
same
They
thing with
didn't, and it's the
divorce
same
as
thing
well.
with divorce. I think I was telling you as well. And many of my divorces, I can predict within a very small margin of what's going to happen at the end of this divorce, and I can tell you're going to get X, Y, and Z, and if we go to trial, it's going to be X, Y, and Z, and maybe X plus or minus less than 1%.
Right. And if you get this,
So,
hell bent.
But
other
I have
person on the
clients
other
who
side.
say, I want to go to, because very few cases actually go to trial.
Right.
But some people want to do it, and then when they get the decision, it's still X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I don't say I told you so,
Right.
but
You
I told you
so.
so.
Yeah.
As they're writing you the check.
As they're writing a check.
You
It's
know,
unfortunate. But
Any parting words that you'd like to give? Because it's almost that witching hour.
it's the witching hour. We
Well,
gotta
the parting words are, I always tell, as I was saying to you, each client gets represented by me, and they get treated like I wanted to get treated when I went through a divorce, and as I said before, plain English, I don't run the meter, I don't run up fees just to run up fees. I treat all my clients, like a person, not just a number, a client on the deli line, so to speak.
Yeah. So they're just not a number. You're just not churning
Right,
and burning.
right.
You're paying attention to each
Right.
one. So how can somebody get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you?
So they have a couple of ways.
So John, write this down, John.
So obviously my phone number, 631-239-1702. And then my email is david@dbnylaw.com. C-O-M.
Right.
Again, phone number 631-239-1702. That's good for all of Long Island. And then the email is david@dbnylaw.com, of course. And my website is www.db, my initials, NY like New York, LAW.com.
Right, which is on the screen right
There you
behind
go.
you. So just take a look and get a hold of David. David, we want to thank you for being
Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me.
You were a great guest.
Thank
And
you.
we told you the
Informative,
time was just going to
educational.
fly
Time
by.
always goes fast.
You know, it goes fast. So
I thank you for having me, and you guys are great, and I wish you best of luck.
All right,
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Appreciate it, David.
So what
All
do you
right.
got going on?
I got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
It sounds
too
like
many
it.
things to think about right now.
How about one?
Okay, well, next Thursday we're going to be at the Boom B2B show, right at the Marriott.
Trade show at the Marriott.
At the
from
Marriott in
3 o'clock
Huntington.
In the afternoon till 8.
3 o'clock. You'll be there from 3 until whenever. I'm going to be there from 3 until whenever. You know, I'm not going to be there the whole time, unfortunately, but we will be there, so you can come on down. You don't know what's going to happen when Norman and I show up.
Meet some
Meet
people.
some people. Come on down, support the Boom efforts, and you know, have a good time. And we got Memorial Day coming up, right?
Okay.
So in 2 weeks, we got our friends from Cockpit USA coming on.
Mm-hmm.
They were on before, right, with the Air Museum. So I'm excited about that because I'm a pilot.
Oh,
So
there you go.
yeah, I love
But
doing
they're
that.
coming on for a different reason now.
But they're
coming
coming on.
because they have a second.
We got to
business.
be spiffy that day.
That's right. We got to wear some.
We got
attire.
to wear some attire
Yes.
that day. But next week we got Bookkeeper 360, friends of mine. Right? As a matter of fact, I'm going there to do some coaching training tomorrow. To
What
see
do
my
they do?
friends. Bookkeeping 360 is one of the largest zero bookkeeping companies, and what I mean by zero is a software, competes with QuickBooks
yeah.
Online. All right, they're one of the largest zero bookkeeping companies in the world. Good friends of mine, they right here on Long Island. Nick from Bookkeeper 360 is going to be on. We're going to hear all about what they do. So what do you got happening?
Nothing really different than last week. All the same stuff. The tickets are selling great for Robin
Williams, right?
I mean, people aren't buying 2 or 3; they're buying 7 or 10. You know, at a
Beautiful.
clip. There's only 400 seats in the room.
So you're going to be putting a new pool in the
it's,
backyard.
well, I don't put in the pool, but I'm going to be doing this again. That's for sure. He's been a great drawer, nice people, nice management, and it's a pleasure to deal with them. So, and we're going to have him on air.
We're going to have him on.
We're gonna
when are
have
we going to
him
have him on?
on.
In June?
Yeah, in
Before the
June,
show?
probably the week before.
Okay.
The week or the.
Oh, the
2
week
weeks
of?
before. Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah, we'll have him call in, and he'll be.
Oh, he's going
Robin
to call
Williams.
in? He's not going to come in?
No, he doesn't live anywhere around here.
Oh, he doesn't like
He's
it.
going to be. He's on tour, so that's
Oh, okay.
How,
So,
that's how we pick
wait,
him
can
up.
we Skype him in?
Yeah, we could probably Skype him.
All right, if we can Skype him
We
in,
can
that would be
Skype him,
awesome.
yeah.
I would love to do that.
We could do that.
All right.
So
So,
our technical person over here is.
yeah,
connected to
Jim's
that.
like sitting there going, yeah,
He's
let's
the
Skype him
man.
in.
He really is.
We do that. Jim,
That's
we
it.
want to thank you
Again,
for everything
thank
tonight.
you so much for watching us and supporting us and what it is that we do. And
And if
have
you
a
want to
great
be on
week.
the show, you forgot to do
Reach
that.
631-698-9696. 631-698-9696. And I have to tell you, we are in May, but I think we have 3 dates left possibly for the rest of the year.
For the rest
so
of the
things
year.
are going, we're thinking, we don't know if we're going to do it, but we're thinking about maybe taking a second date. Also, we'll either do it an hour before or
Another
the day
another
before.
time slot. So we'll give you more information on that
As it
as the
comes
time
up.
goes on. But
It's
if
all
you-
because of you guys.
It's all because of you guys. And if you don't want to talk to Norm about being on the show and you want to talk to me, you can reach me
I'll
at
be on the stake. Forgot.
631-721-4347, extension 101.
It certainly is.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for watching tonight. We'll see you next week with our friends from Bookkeeper 360. Everybody have a great week.
Have a wonderful week. Be
Good
safe.
night, everybody.
Good night.
na 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 stand. Oh, my mind clear. Lord, I shed all my tears. Oh, now baby, I was just waiting here while you moved on. Security, this is about freedom you kept from me. The sound of all your loaded guns, this outbreak war has just begun. The sound of all your loaded guns, this broken man has already won. Oh, my mind clear. Lord, I shed all my tears.